Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and game 1 in a series between EG Axslav and Root CatZ. Game 1 taking place here on Metalopolis. EG Axslav spawning as the yellow Protoss player at the 6 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Root CatZ spawning as the light blue Zerg. So Zerg versus Protoss. I know I've cast a lot of Zerg versus Protoss games, but I haven't found that many Terran replays, to be honest. I am looking for them. I'm just having a very difficult time trying to find them, and for some strange reason I want to cast some more Terran games, as I do play Terran in order to try to improve my own game. But yeah, I guess so many people complain about Terran being overpowered that they're now switching to Zerg versus Protoss, but I still don't feel that Terran is an overpowered race. But you guys are free. Feel free to disagree with me. EG Axslav now moving out with this probe. The probe coming up the ramp and will be able to quickly spot his opponent. Now CatZ, based on the timing of this probe, pretty much knows where Axslav has spawned as well. Although he doesn't know exactly the strategies coming out. One drone now battling it out, and that probe getting a couple quick hits there, and now taking actual critical damage, being forced to run away. And now running away from that drone, the probe should start recharging those shields relatively quickly. And now moving away, the drone now deciding to come up over here on this ramp. We now also have a gateway warping in here. We should have a cybernetics core followed with a zealot there in order to hold off CatZ, who may be trying to get a couple early Zerglings. I like the placement on the gateway here, followed with the cybernetics core. A little bit of a description later, as we now have an assimilator warping in as well. So Axslav doing the standard build that most Protoss players do 90% of the time. CatZ opting to go for a very gutsy hatchery first on a close spawn on Metalopolis. Normally, most Zerg players don't want to try to go for that close spawn because they know that a lot of damage could be dealt early on. Axslav now, he may try to be aggressive with an early Zealot and a Stalker, or he may decide to hold back and just try to play a more macro style of game, as we now have that cybernetics core warping in as well. A probe now down over here, perhaps going to sit in this position and now start mining once again. We should be getting up a Zealot. There it is. The Zealot not going to be chrono boosted, and Axslav knowing that he doesn't need to chrono boost that Zealot just because his opponent went for a hatchery first, and he can save that chrono boost instead for his probes and get a stronger economy going. Double gas now coming in from Axslav, so Axslav running off of 2 gas, which is by definition double gas, while Root CatZ, after he mined 100 gas off of, no, he has not mined 100 gas yet, we'll start to get this, we'll be able to start getting that metabolic boost. I was going to say, CatZ isn't mining with any drones, but he did opt to go for a hatchery first, so he does not have his gas yet for that metabolic boost. A sentry and now an early forge coming in from Axslav. Axslav, if you remember, was the only undefeated player from the Machinima Realm Invitational a couple months back. He actually went 10-0, winning all of his games, including the 2v2 game. So I do want to sit down with him and talk with him, ask him which games were the best, which games did he take the most pride in. I know he took a game from Jinro. He also used upgraded carriers as well in a couple of those matchups, which was pretty effective. The probe now trying to run away. It may get taken down by those Zerglings if he tries to walk on creep, and now in comes a queen as well, and yeah, that queen along with those Zerglings is going to be able to finish off that probe there. We now have a drone, perhaps going to set up a hatchery at the high yield mineral location here, and now CatZ being very gutsy, taking up a 3rd base before Axslav has even taken up his 2nd. The forge is already down, so we may be getting that weapons upgrade in just a moment. Zerglings now trying to peck away at this nexus, will not be able to get any serious damage at all, as we should be getting the weapons upgrade on to that Zealot very, very soon. The weapons upgrade does help those Zealots take down Zerglings much easier. The hatchery is now down for CatZ, or halfway down, as the natural expansion is already getting a lot of drones transferred. Harvester-wise, 31 drone for CatZ, 26 probes for Axslav. Axslav a little bit behind in his economy, and will continue to be behind, as now CatZ is able to power drone pretty easily. Whenever you see that your opponent has a lot of sentries, know that he's been spending the majority of his build time on sentries and not able to macro up a large army. So that's why CatZ knows that he can start power droning the way he is and just get a large number of harvesters. You can see 35 drones compared to 28. The spawn larva is still being used on both sides, and now drones being transferred to the high yield mineral location. So those 11 drones will be able to mine much more efficiently. But there is one zealot already attempting to take down this hatchery. A Zergling now going to make its way over, perhaps try to get some damage. It will get taken down with relative ease. And now drones making their way over. Zerglings do have that metabolic boost now, and the zealot realizing its days are numbered. Very nice micro from Axslav. So no, sorry, from CatZ, making sure to not lose any of those Zerglings. And now one dancing probe over there. Zerglings just wandering around back and forth. A couple of spine crawlers may be built in just a moment, but no, a void ray now being trained by Axslav. So Axslav going for that Stargate with additional gateways, and that void ray will be able to get off a lot of damage, especially since there's only one queen over here. If he waits for a second void ray, that will be even more damage that he can deal. A lot of sentries down over here to perhaps stop any of those Zerglings from trying to walk in, as a zealot now being warped in as well. So Axslav, an army consisting of mostly sentries and zealots. A second void ray will be trained, and a hydralist then already coming in. So CatZ must suspect that there is going to be a void ray, and we must suspect that there's going to be void rays already going for that hydralist. And with that spawn larva over here, as long as it trains hydralist, he will be fine. Yes, with 2 hydralists here, he will be able to fend off this attack against any of those void rays. Force fields now down. Sentries and a void ray and a zealot now trying to make their way over. There are a lot of units being trained up over here. The hydras are going to be fighting on creep, which will give him a significant advantage, but there are going to be some Guardian Shields, so the Guardian Shield will help reduce the amount of damage, and in comes the Void Ray now trying to fight in back and forth. Banelings now coming in as well, so CatZ now coming in with those Banelings, perhaps getting some Force Fields off. Yeah, some Force Fields were placed down. Oh, nicely done, preventing those Banelings from coming in at all, and beautiful Force Field. This hatchery will get taken down in just a second. No, down to 7 hit points. There it goes, and now they are going to be forced to retreat. Now trying to pull away. Sentries dropping in some more force fields, and those Banelings are trying to push their way through, but the Banelings are going to be able to splash. No, unable to splash as the Sentries are in a very, very nice pocket, and Axslav just completely using those force fields very, very effectively, defending off this attack here. Sentries now trying to push back and push away many of those Zerglings. And Axslav doing an absolute brilliant job in this fight. Hydralist now Hydralist now causing a little bit of problem. Void Rays are in the air, and this expansion has pretty much been neutralized. So CatZ taking a heavy, heavy hit, and now maybe excuse me, now maybe losing many of those Overlords. Hydralist now coming in. Sentries are down over here. Not enough energy for any more force fields, so it's going to be a straight fight here. Hydralist now trying to come in, and the Hydralist will be able to finish off these Void Rays, and now in comes a new Void Ray, and Sentry's now coming in as well. And what was, oh, now going, I think he accidentally shot down his own Void Ray there. That may have been a complete misclick. There are currently 2 Void Rays in the air. A lot of Sentries now down over here. Sentries just getting picked off once again. Hydralist now trying to come in. In comes some more force fields. Those Hydralists are very slow off of creep, and now those Void Rays are able to chase, and now in comes some Stalkers as well. Stalkers now poking at the back of those Hydralists, just able to attack and move, and now charging off of that Overlord. Down it goes, and wow, CatZ is in trouble. Hydralist coming down the ramp trying to reinforce. 35 drones versus 44 probes, and the economy has completely shifted now. Zealots and Sentries, Stalkers are going to try to engage as well. Some more force fields could be laid down, and Void Rays now trying to pull back, and the Stalkers now are able to give chase against those Hydralists. Void Rays are now going to try to get some more damage, and now in comes some more Hydralists once again, and 3 Void Rays in the air trying to be microed separate and apart from those Stalkers. One Stalker picked apart by some Zerglings there, and both sides playing a very dangerous game trying to micro, but Axslav with the larger army and the significantly more advanced gas army should be able to utilize this advantage and continue to press. He has the better economy, he has the larger army, and tech-wise, he is, I believe, a little bit ahead. Yeah, just a little bit ahead. We are now getting the Hydralists dead with those groove spines, so perhaps those Hydralists are going to finally be able to deal enough damage for Void Rays, Stalkers, and now Sentries and Zealots continuing to walk up this ramp. Not quite sure why Axslav warped in Stalkers here as opposed to here. There we go. Axslav now warping in those Stalkers on that high ground location, and will be trying to push out. We can see probes now being activating that Zonaga Watchtower. Perhaps another Nexus going to be warped in here, or just looking for any additional expansions, making sure that his opponent does not have, CatZ is not running off of 3 bases. That's always important. If you think you have an advantage, make sure that your opponent doesn't have an additional base up and running. If you do, you are going to completely misjudge your army. 86 over 84 now. CatZ now food locked, supply locked at 86 over 84, unable to train up any additional units until overlords are trained. And now we are getting the centrifugal hooks on those banelings, and a lot more banelings are being warped in. Banelings, even though he is supply locked, still able to train up banelings. Finally getting into 86 over 92. Void Rays, an additional pylon now being placed down. One Void Ray with 18 kills, so that is a large amount of kills for that veteran or that master Void Ray there. And perhaps he will be able to continue to press his advantage. Zerglings now trying to come in as well. Those Zerglings are going to quickly get cleaned up there. One poor Zergling also getting cleaned up by that Photon Cannon. And now Hydralisk being added to Axslav's armies. So this is going to be two Colossus plus Void Rays, Stalkers, and Sentries, and this is going to be very difficult for CatZ to stop unless he tries to press right now. Photon Cannon is now getting cancelled. In comes a couple of those shields, and now those banelings just simply stuck on the wrong side of those force fields. Colossus now trying to give chase, and now CatZ is in serious trouble. Axslav with one observer there knew exactly what was coming from those banelings, and now more banelings still being trained up by CatZ. CatZ, all he can really hope for is that the sentries do not have enough energy for 5 to 6 force fields once again. Axslav also very, very smartly placing some distance in between these photon cannons, making sure that the splash damage doesn't overlap with each other. But CatZ now with 24 banelings. Stalker's now trying to come in. Zerglings now perhaps going to try to do a surround. Unable to do so. Going after those sentries though, so the sentries may get taken down. The Zerglings now going to try to run inside that base. And those Zerglings down over here are not going to be able to deal any damage at all. If they try to run back over here, the Colossus will be able to finish them off. Down go all those Zerglings before they even get off 1 point of damage, as Axslav takes up a 3rd base. Banelings now on a roll. Perhaps they'll be able to break through this front door here. Army-wise, 4,200 versus 2,025. Such a dominant position for Axslav. Axslav with Void Rays, with Stalkers, and with Sentries. More force fields coming in, stopping many of those banelings from coming in at all. 4 banelings able to find their target. And now more banelings coming in. Once again, there's another force field. Many of those sentries are pretty much now cleaned up. But banelings are getting shot down left and right. One Colossus now trying to run up to that high ground and able to survive at 7 hit points. And there's the GG. So CatZ losing this game to EG Axslav here on Metalopolis. And I don't think I've actually seen a game where Axslav has lost yet. So I will continue to cast the rest of the series. We'll see if Axslav loses his game or if he'll continue to have perhaps an undefeated record on my channel. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between Root Gaming's CatZ and Evil Genius's Axslav.